Hey, how's it going everybody? I hope you're all good. This is Peter Gargan speaking, and for this video, I wanted to talk a little bit about an upcoming game that's grabbed my attention recently, that I'm keeping my eye on. This game in particular is called Sea of Stars, and so far, I'm really liking the look of it, and it has instantly become one of my most anticipated titles for 2022. Let's get into why I think that is. Firstly, Sea of Stars is being developed by none other than Sabotage Studio. If that name sounds familiar to you, that is because they are also the developers behind The Messenger, a game which I've been playing a lot recently. While we're at it, I strongly recommend checking The Messenger out if you haven't already. It is an excellent platformer that toys with your expectations in interesting ways. While I don't want to spoil anything, my experience with it has made me want to keep an eye on Sabotage Studio going forward to see what else they can come up with, and Sea of Stars is looking to continue exactly that. Not to mention that it has been stated that Sea of Stars also shares the same fictional universe as The Messenger, and serves as a prequel story, so I imagine it will be really cool to see what potential connections there are between the two. One connection that I've already noticed when playing The Messenger is the sunken shrine level found later on in the game's narrative. It involves imagery related to the sun and moon? No, not that one. And upon speaking to the shopkeeper character, the dialogue seems to imply that Sea of Stars has been teased this entire time. And seeing as it was confirmed to be a prequel story set in the same universe, I think it's safe to say that this was very intentional foreshadowing for what's to come. Maybe in future Sabotage Studio titles beyond Sea of Stars, more cohesion will come to light. In a similar manner to how Suda51's titles have loose connections, or the ongoing narrative in the Marvel Cinematic Universe series of films, as a couple of examples of what we could expect to see from their works, but that's just merely speculation on my part. Moving on, I'm also a huge fan of the visual style and presentation of the game. While still managing to look faithful to the 16-bit RPGs we've come to know and love, there are some really nice lighting effects that kind of remind me of Octopath Traveler. For example, we see a faint colour-coded light surrounding the two protagonists that illuminate the path underneath them, which I really think looks pretty if I do say so myself. In this clip, we can even see that they went out of their way to include reflections in the water, which I know most of you will look at like it's a standard thing, but I still wanted to point out the attention to detail regardless, as I think it truly goes a long way. It's also really commendable how they managed to make the sprites feel really expressive with their animations, and I can genuinely feel the energy behind it all, which can be quite difficult to pull off when you're restricted to a 16-bit aesthetic. It wouldn't be a video talking about Sea of Stars if I didn't mention the game that it keeps getting compared to, and that is the classic Super Nintendo JRPG Chrono Trigger, often regarded as one of the greatest video games of all time. This is because Sea of Stars has seemingly taken inspiration from the style of gameplay that Chrono offers, such as combat being seamlessly initiated in the overworld without the need of transitioning to a separate battle screen, and the way characters are positioned taking turns to attack looks strikingly similar. The most interesting comparison, however, comes in the form of veteran composer Yasunori Mitsuda, I'm incredibly sorry if I've pronounced that wrong, lending a helping hand in the soundtrack. Based on the samples we've been shown, it's very clear that the team is putting a lot of care into the soundtrack, and hopefully with the legend that is Mitsuda on their side, it'll be one to remember. It's also worth mentioning that on the official website, Sabotage have listed Super Mario RPG and Illusion of Gaia as additional sources of inspiration, so if you're also a fan of those games, chances are you'll be interested in seeing where Sea of Stars will go. Sea of Stars is probably the closest thing that fans have to getting that Chrono itch, seeing as it's been over 2 decades since we got Chrono Cross, and Square Enix don't seem all that interested in bringing the series back. So hopefully, this is the next best thing for fans that may have been disappointed with its dormancy. I've also grown to respect Sabotage Studio for the way they have engaged with their community. They've shared fan art on their Instagram page, which you should totally follow by the way, as well as mine while you're at it, and they have also replied to comments on gameplay clips they've posted to their YouTube page. I genuinely wish this team the very best in their endeavours, and want to see them succeed. So I feel like plugging them in this way is the least I can do, even if I am a small channel and don't have that big of a reach. In all seriousness, it's really fascinating to see them actively update us on how the game is progressing and showing us little snippets of what we can expect while also trying not to reveal too much, and it just makes me all the more excited to find out more. I think this is an advantage that independent developers have over the big AAA studios, as they have shown to be more actively involved with their audiences to provide gaming experiences that are arguably on par with, or even superior, to the current efforts of the well-established titans. Anyway, that's just about everything I have to say on the matter. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Do you also share the anticipation I'm experiencing with Sea of Stars? Feel free to let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, see you later.